Amanium Shadow Poo!
Hello, welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters Shadow Show. This is a show we do every other week for our loyal patrons. We've been talking about a lot of different stuff this season, a lot of things that we wanted to talk about the last 5 years that we have done this show, but haven't got the chance to. Last week we talked about eerie publications, which people seem to really like. And Matt, you have scheduled this. And, you know, we have a pretty strict schedule of stuff we talk about, but you have scheduled in free jazz episodes. These are episodes that kind of harken back a little bit to our earliest bonus show days, where we would just talk about whatever. And, you know, movies, we do watch-alongs, we do all sorts of stuff like that. But now, you know, we have a lot of stuff to fit in this season, but I'm really glad that you still scheduled these little free jazz sessions where we just get to kind of, you know, talk about what we want to do. This episode, I'm going to be talking about some research that I did on the house that Alicia and I just moved into. It was pretty interesting. Matt, you're going to talk about an artist you're really into these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's my nice thing.
Oh, your Matt's nice things. I forgot. Hopefully you have a little bumper or something.
Nice things. I also have a Matt's Musings. I'm going to sneak in just a real fast hit between between segments.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, I'll start. So, Alicia and I moved into a new house last month. We used to live in the little carriage house on the property that was 650 square feet. And we got the chance to move into the main house, which is 1,400 square feet. That's an adult size house. We are adults now. So yeah, we went from, Fisher Price, my first house, to this. And, you know, anyone that knows me or listens to the show knows that I have a lot of shit. And my wife, Alicia, has more than a lot of shit. And so we are vintage collectors. I finally just got my records in. And, yeah, I don't know. I think between albums, 45s and 78s, I'm pushing around 2,000. So I moved all those.
Did you say 650 square feet in the carriage house?
That's right.
Dude.
So we've had stuff at Alicia's sister's, at her mom's. All my records have just been spread out over this fucked out city. And now it's all together. And I got to say, like, I think having all my records under one roof, like my blood pressure just went down. It's just stayed down like 6 points or something, just in general. But, yeah, we had a lot of stuff to move. And, you know, Alicia has done her vintage maximalist number on the place, which, you know, I love. So yeah, we have a big living room. We have like a sitting room now. And just a really giant kitchen. It's just a big dining room with our tiny little table. We don't have a big table yet. We have a little card table as our dining table, which is darling.
Think of all the activities you can do in there now.
There's so much. I mean, there's ceilings, as I'm sure you can hear in our my recording now. There's actual ceilings. So yeah, it's been really nice, and just having all my records again under one roof is a huge thing. So after we moved in, our landlord said that thing where she's like, well, now that you've moved in, let me tell you. And she says, well, I was talking to a very older lady down at the county museum, told her where I lived. And the lady's like, oh, your house was a funeral home. And no, like in that room, that front room, they that's where they showed bodies. They had like viewings and stuff, and the bodies would stay there like a super long time. And okay, so that's in this room that I'm recording at now is where the supposed bodies were viewed. I'm my family historian, and I know that all that is bullshit for the most part.
Oh.
It all is. So I was thinking that I'm just like, okay, how can I disprove the story? And I did this while I was sitting at work at the reference station. I was like, God, how on earth am I going to research this place? That is weird. And then, I realized that I'm at the library.
You're in the Batcave.
I am the fucking Batcave for researching properties in Klamath Falls. So we had 100 years of the Klamath Herald and News, property shit, phone directories in the basement still that I was able to just kind of go and see. And anyhow, like, as you can see, like, it wasn't a funeral home. Like, what are they going to lug the bodies up all those steps? Like, that's dumb. Like, doesn't make any sense. So, so I disproved that pretty quickly by being like, it's not. Yeah, go on.
Maybe they come in the garage and then like up a dumbwaiter or something.
Nope, there's no dumbwaiter. Like, that does not make any sense. So, but yeah, I didn't find the address in any obituaries or anything. And what I did find was some people that lived here, the Smith family. It's Otto and Mildred and their son, Donald Pat Smith. And this is the story that kind of, when you're researching, I mean, as you know, especially like family history, you kind of see the thread. You see the thread you want to follow. And there's lots of, other kind of cool stuff. But the story of the Smith family was what I kind of just got really sucked into. And I got kind of obsessed about it and spent a lot of time at work doing this, justifying this by being like, if someone comes to me and says, Jacob, I'd like to know how to research stuff like this. And now I'd be like, oh, I totally know how to do that because I've familiarized myself with the systems by spending 2 days at work researching everything. So,
on the job learning.
It is on the job learning. My director she's not a patron. So, she's not going to hear this. But so Donald Pat Smith, he was born in Oregon City on March 17th. 1925, which I do believe is St. Patrick's Day. And so he was born in Oregon City. The Smith family was from Oregon City. I looked them up way back, in a lot of Oregon City papers too. And the great thing about old papers that I forget is, they'll have even small town papers will have the society page. And the society page is basically just like, it tells people who you had over to your house. Mm-hmm. It said that one house, it's like, oh, they're recovering from a cold this week. Like, oh, these people got together and played cards. And I was laughing. I was talking to someone at work. They're like, well, it's just social media. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Was it just the rich that they reported on?
No, it was everybody in small towns. It was just, well, the society, like tiny columns, is all like poor people. I found articles that one of them was a big headline that said, prominent man goes hunting.
For pussy.
It was so great. Oh, man. Wow. So, the Smith family's from Oregon City, and they moved here to our house on Jefferson in, I think, 1930. Pat was a paper boy for the Herald and News that I researched most of this stuff in. He went to Sacred Heart Academy, and after high school, he got a job at the Great Northern. Here, he was a car man, which I looked up, and I guess it's someone that, will kind of like do little repairs and stuff. It sounds like a perfect, like after school, like you just graduated type of job. So he just graduated, got this little job, and then in September of 1943, he was drafted. And he was 18. And he left and he went to Air Cadet Training School. So he was in the Air Force. Ended up joining a bomber wing. And so Pat was a ball turret gunner. Do you know what a ball turret gunner is? I really didn't quite understand that.
I don't think so.
But he was on this B-24 called My Devotion. And it's with the 7th Air Force. And My Devotion has some really fucking sweet, like Alberto Vargas art on it, which was, it was amazing. Yeah. So I thought that was just, super cool. And so here is the crew for My Devotion. Pat is on the top left, and he was a ball turret gunner. So a ball turret gunner's job. So you're basically, you're going to crawl into a little ball with 2 machine guns mounted underneath it on a B-24. And you're there to kind of, protect the aircraft from enemy planes. So, the ball turret gunner was basically in a fetal position. And this is, so he's wrapped in furs for the most part, because, he's at 30,000 feet, I think. 30,000 is what the B-24s were at. And no heat. A lot of times he'd have to breathe through like an oxygen mask. And it's basically a clear bubble that you just see down and you see everything coming towards you. And as someone who is massively claustrophobic, like I can't, this is hell. This is worse than being buried alive. Because you're up there and it's normally, go on.
Sorry, this is not the same thing as in that Amazing Stories episode. This is a smaller thing, right? You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Where the cartoonist, okay. This is smaller.
It seems
I don't
small.
know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think that was definitely, this seems very small. I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, it was the illustrator.
Like they had to draw the wheel so they could land. So like
that's right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if that was a ball turret, but this is tiny. Like you're in a fetal position. They give it to the smallest guy in the squad, which even going back to that photo, like Pat is not the smallest guy in the squad. There's a guy real small next to him.
From his jockeys?
Yeah, no, but from his draft card, he was 5'8". Like he's not super short.
Small.
So I was just like, oh my God, like how insane is that? And and they're the only crew without a parachute. Because what's the point? Like there's no
learning
room.
How to swim when you're on a sailor.
Yeah.
In the old days.
Exactly.
just drown.
Just drown. That's your only point. So yeah, either there's like no room or no point. So I found conflicting stats online, but one estimate said 60% of ball gunners died. Because you're a little target. You're a little target that especially, and Pat was in the Pacific Theater. And so the Japanese Zeros, and ball gunners will shoot them down. So they'll go for them first, aside from just they're like, look at that little guy. There's a little guy right there. I'm going to shoot at him first. And Pat was stationed in the Hawaiian Islands and he completed missions from the Marianas. He participated in the bombing of Iwo Jima. He flew 40 missions totaling 483 hours of combat flying in the little ball. So if I understand correctly, a ball gunner would do about 20 missions and then just be sent home. So it's kind of bonkers that he did that. He did double that and survived. So he returned to Klamath Falls from the South Pacific for a 30-day furlough. I think it was on July 1st, 1945. So I had to look that up. I learned that like a military furlough, like I always thought it was kind of just like, it's a vacation, you're on leave. But like a furlough kind of, I read it was kind of known as a sanity check for like soldiers in high stress situations.
Yeah.
And especially him, like Pat did something that no one does. Like no one flies that many missions as a ball turret gunner and survives. And so yeah, it said he was going to like report to the Santa Ana Army Airfield for a 2 to 5 week recovery. This is from the Herald News from July 12th. And his 30-day furlough seemed to turn into a discharge as he never went back. Cause I mean, I'm assuming like, I don't know. I'm assuming they're just like, oh shit, you did this. Yeah. You don't have to come back. You're good. But so he's 20. So he did all that between the ages of 18 and 20.
Jesus.
And it's crazy.
Is that what in Catch 22, is that what Snowden, is that the guy who gets his brains blown out in the plane, like, and they keep kind of jumping back to him through the whole novel?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is what he did. Man. But yeah, it's absolutely brutal and insane and crazy that he survived. But the true tragedy, and this is a very tragic story, is that so 2 months later, his buddy John Costigan is driving them to the Potato Festival dance in Merrill, and he lost control of the car on some gravel and flipped it. And John was hurt, but Pat died like instantly from a fractured skull and everything. It's very like the paper was just like, oh, the guy who witnessed the accident came and like Pat like died in this guy's arms. His friend was like 22, Pat was 20. And so obviously, like, the grand fucking tragedy here is that he miraculously survives 483 hours in a ball turret and is taken out by some gravel like 2 months after he comes home. It's just fucking heartbreaking. Like, it's a crazy, crazy tragic story.
Yeah.
So, it's so there's just a few pictures that we have of him. We have those two, and then the one of his with him and his flight crew. I looked through yearbooks. The yearbooks didn't go back far enough for Sacred Heart, the high school he went to. So those were the only 3 photos I actually was able to find of him. And he's buried at Mount Calvary Cemetery, and it's right beside his mother and father. So they're all there. It's a Catholic cemetery. And Alicia, I don't know. It was kind of, I got weirdly obsessed with this story and just realizing that, like, we're probably sleeping in his room, And so I got super invested in this. And so I was just like, well, shit, I've learned the story. So we wanted to go and, like, visit him. And so we left a penny on his grave, and which I didn't really know was a thing. I mean, I think you can do that with all graves just to signify a visit. But with veterans, like, a penny is if you're just like a civilian, just saying that you visited. A nickel means you and the vet like trained together. A dime means you served together, and a quarter means you were there when this person died.
Wow, I've never heard that. That's cool.
Yeah, I never heard that either. But so we left a penny for Pat, penny for Otto and Mildred, and it was a very, very, like, it was very emotional and very affecting to just kind of understand the story and just this insane tragedy that is it had to do with our house. And obviously I'm a pacifist, you're a pacifist. I'm not a fan of war, but honoring an 18-year-old kid who was drafted and served his country, like, I have no problem doing that.
Yeah.
And it's World War II. It's the war with real villains.
The good one.
The good one. So yes, I don't know. I don't have a problem honoring him. So I think what we want to do, we want to try and, get I'm going to try and just, like, print up at least the best quality photo and maybe have a photo of him here and have a nice little shrine or something. Yeah, I think it's cool. As morbid as this is, I found this poem that I really loved. It was really beautiful and pretty tragic. It's just like 6 lines. It's by this guy named Randall Jarrell, who served on a B-24. It wasn't a ball turret, but it's called The Death of the Ball Turret Gunner. And it says, from my mother's sleep, I fell into the state, and I hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from earth, loosed from its dream of life, I woke to black flak and the nightmare fighters. When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose. And I was like,
that is powerful.
It's very powerful. Like, it's a perfect poem. I just kept reading it. Like, it's beautiful. It's just amazing. And so, I had this weird week of just kind of researching and figuring out what, this guy's life and stuff went on. Like, his sister became like a junior. There was the Neighbors of Woodcraft. I don't know if you've heard the Woodsmen of the World. They were like in Northwest. Oh, yeah. And the Neighbors and the Daughters of Woodcraft were like the Women's Legion or Auxiliary or something. But the Neighbors of Woodcraft actually, like, branched off in kind of a weird feminist way. And there were a lot of meetings at this house during the war, and probably definitely in the room that I'm in now. They would play cards and do stuff. I told my work friend Alexis, I was just like, oh yeah, this is women's group that, like, met during the war when all the men were away, and they just, like, played cards and stuff. She's like, no, they were kissing and doing abortions. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, you're probably right.
Probably. A little of column A, a little column B.
Column A, column B. God bless them both, I hope so. But I don't know. Kind of powerful shit.
That's cool, man. You found a great story. I mean, tragic, obviously tragic story, but I love making sense of history, right? Because human life is just chaos.
Yep.
So I think it's like a superpower of the historian to dive into all that data and, like you said, tease out a thread and just follow that thread and find a compelling story about that. That's just something human. I love it. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was very. I felt very good about it. It felt meaningful. It felt kind of important. So it was nice. So that was that kind of consumed me for a short period after we moved in here. But it's a good story to tell. Thank you.
Well done. Where's Merrill? Is it close to you?
Yeah, Merrill's real near the California border.
Okay.
And so it's kind of near Tule Lake where the lava beds are. And I don't know if you know the whole Modoc Indian War, like Captain Jack, and also fascinating, really late Indian War, really brutal. But the Modoc Indians went and hid in these lava beds and like fought off the cavalry in these amazing ways. Like, I've
heard a little bit about that, but I don't know much at all.
It's incredible. It's an incredible story. So we went down there and went to Captain Jack's stronghold and like there's all these caves, these lava tubes and stuff. Like, it's actually really cool.
Was that the picnic you did like a week ago or whatever? Yeah. Very cool.
No, it's very, very cool. So yeah, the Merrill's real near there, but yeah, he was just going to the potato festival dance. It was like, fuck.
What else are you going to do? 1946 or whatever.
It's October of 1945. So
45?
Yeah.
God damn.
I know, brutal. But yeah, so that's
did he not see the end of the war then? Didn't the war end like a month later or something?
I think so, yeah. I don't think he saw the end. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? What is your mental state? I mean, what happens? Like, what happens when you do it? No one did that many missions. No one did that many hours. Like, I don't know why they let him do that. I mean, maybe he was just really good at it. Like, I don't know how many zeros he shot down. Probably a fuck ton.
Did they track kills? Like, is that a matter of record, or is that something that's just not?
I don't know. I wasn't able to find a whole lot of that. I don't know. I mean, we were able to search some military records, but I didn't come up with a ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. For a second there, with your head fake with the funeral home, I was already picturing some kind of Faulknerian, drama, but I like where it went. That was also good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And no little kid ghosts, or anything that would
come with the funeral home. No little kid ghosts, no Sut Pens, 100. No. Sut Pens. Still my favorite Faulkner. I'm always the biggest fan of Absalom. I know I'm in the minority there, but that's my Faulkner.
I need to read it again. That was definitely one that I enjoyed chewing on. It was one of the most challenging ones for me. As far as like the thing where you can read like 3 pages and be like, this is beautiful. I have no idea what happened, but that was the most beautiful prose I've ever read. Like,
yeah, but it's also
like just psychedelic, almost psychedelic in its scope.
Weirdly enough, I mean, I know maybe some of his other books did this, but it's some of the Compson kids are in it. Like it's characters that
I love that.
I know, it's so great. Like I forget which kid, it's told by there's this old woman in like an attic, and he goes and finds her and she tells this whole story about Sutpen, and it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Fucking Faulkner, man.
I love that shared literary universe thing.
I know.
Yaknapatawpha County or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, Matt's music. We haven't done one of these for forever. I've been thinking about this. Normally, this is stuff that Renee is subjected to, but I'm going to subject you to it since you're sitting here and you have a microphone in front of me. So, my one of my things that bugs me is the Spanish word grande. Everyone knows it. You say grande. What does it mean, Jacob? What does grande mean?
I mean, I would think it would mean large, and it's a coffee size.
It is. But the problem is that in America, if you go down to the border between Texas and Mexico and there's that big old river, and you say, what's that river called? Almost every single American will say, that's the Rio Grande.
That's right.
That's the Rio Grande. John Wayne would say, that's the Rio Grande. Like, they won't deign to say Rio Grande, which is big river, that's all it means. However, right, we're Americans. We don't say this shit. But however, it's Italian. And it's coffee. All of a sudden, everybody's fine saying, I'll have a grande, blah, 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 grande, mocha, twist, soy. Like, why is that fine? So my theory is, I know why.
Okay.
Because Italians can pass for white.
Yeah.
That's fucking why.
Yeah, that is
People are
probably
fucking
why.
racist. So they won't be bothered to say, oh, Grande, that's Mexican stuff. But, it's Italian coffee?
Yes.
I'll have a Grande almond with a twist. Fuck that. That's racist.
That's
I'm
racist.
calling it.
That's racism
Straight
right
out
there.
racism.
There you go. You called it.
Coffee's fine. Rivers, not so much.
No, not so much.
There. That's that. Okay. I'm going to save my my other stuff for material for later.
Nice.
Nice things.
I was going to share with you, Jacob, this this creator, this book actually that I got from this creator. She is Letty Wilson. She's from Scotland, and I don't know how I found her. It was I looked up on Kickstarter when I got this book called Owl People, and I got it from Kickstarter around 2022 is when I received the reward. I don't know why I backed it, but it was a web comic that she did, and I got really, really into it, and then kind of forgot about it. I meant to share this with you for years, or the people out there, and so I'm really into her, and she does a lot of cool stuff. She does comics, she does some art for tabletop games, and she reminds me of a lot of Matt Emmons, who you and I love, Council of Frogs and stuff like that. And she has a store, but her Etsy store for her physical media is only in the UK. So I don't think she ships internationally, unfortunately. So if anyone wants to check out Owl People, which they'll see some of, they would have to get it, I think, through that Kickstarter. I don't know how many US stores there are selling her stuff, but she's got this, you're going to love her, Jacob. She's got this, like, she's into the fae folk, the wee people, folky, witchy. She's into like biology and like funky, weird, like dirt and just like bugs and creatures. And, so I'll just take a little stroll through some of her stuff here. So like, here's some stuff she did for a tabletop game. I mean, her illustrations, I think, are just stunning. The book I have, actually, Owl People, is all black and white. I realized later it's a webcomic, if I don't know if I mentioned that. So anyone that wants to check it out can go read the entire saga. It started in like 2017. So, I mean, I just absolutely love her style. A couple different game systems she's done designs for that I just love. Another game, like I just sat and just looked on her website and just scrolled through these and was just obsessed with them. A sword library, just a book of cursed swords. And she makes up like little stories about why they're cursed and like their history and these like detailed drawings of them. More game stuff, gorgeous stuff. Some of other books she's done. Like I hadn't checked her website in like 2 or 3 years, and there was way more stuff than I realized. So, here's a couple things. Like I haven't checked out Cosmic yet. She just did the art for that one. I love this spot illustration in the middle from like a game thing where it's just like some witchy lady. And then there was something called like Devilry on the right there. It's kind of a Black Phillip-y type of character. Something weird she did with like this grub that somebody finds, this graphic novel about somebody finding a weird grub and taking it home and like raising it up. But Owl People is the thing that I was obsessed with. Book 1 is The Fruit, and it has like the first like 5 chapters of this story. Here's the URL. People want to check it out and read it online. But the whole kind of premise of this is that it's in a small Scottish town, and it starts off with like a king writing a letter to the king of the fairy people, the king of the humans, saying like, we've had a good relationship. However, your folks keep crossing over and causing trouble. And I've written you all these missives saying we need to put a stop to this and you're not writing back. So I'm closing the gates. And so at some point, centuries ago, the gates were closed between the fairy folk and us, and some were trapped here. And so there's this whole system that's been set up that's just below the surface of our perception of like these fairy folk. There's pixies, nixies, and it's almost like The Wire, like, or Sopranos. Like there's gangs and they get up to weird crime and just do this weird stuff. And the main like character, this guy in the mask, is named Mr. Taito, and his job is to like police their interactions and their activity and not have them no one else can cross through the gates, and like to kind of maintain like they can't impact the humans. We have to stay hidden. So his job is to like keep track of that. And there's all kinds of crazy characters. Like this is like the queen of the pixie gang that we meet, and it's like just horrifying. There's all kinds of crazy body horror. It's like a giant beetle with like a little hands that hold onto a human mask just to kind of give it a semblance of humanity.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Really fucking freaky. We see at one point, I'm not going to spoil too much, but we see at one point, they allude to the fact that there's these compost fields where they feed their grubs, and the grubs like make honey, and this honey is pure magic. So like all the magic practitioners like eat a spoonful of honey and their eyes get all like big, you know, like their pupils, and they can do powerful magic. But they kept alluding to like they compost some humans, which is breaking the rules. But I was like, oh, so there's chopping them up and like pulping them, and then they feed them to the grubs later. No, these fucking things are humans and they're alive. So you know my body horror shit. So they're in this garden. They just have shit like trees growing out of their mouths and whatever.
Oh my God.
And at one point, this character, she's one of the House Reynardine, like the fox fairy folk. She encounters one of these things and like she's pulling a berry because the berries also have the magic. That's what they also make magic out of. But the thing like speaks. It's like crying. And it's like, help me, when it's like picking a berry off of a branch out of its head.
No.
The art, I just love the art style. I think it's super, super charming. And I love that throughout this thing, like she does, like sometimes it'll be like ink on paper with a brush, and other times it's, you know, ballpoint, fine point pen. Other times each chapter is just kind of like her doing a thing. This is a really cool character. There's this trio of witches that all just kind of hang around the park bench. And like the one that you're seeing in the foreground, like she's like the seer, like the prophetess. And the one on the right, you know, I love that when the witches, like the more magic they do, like the black, like their fingertips get black and they keep spreading. So obviously this one on the right's like done a lot of magic over the centuries. So she's almost all black. At this point here, this is a really cool point where Mr. Taito is taking this rogue character back to the fairyland, and they have to go through what's basically TSA. There's a ring of mushrooms, and it's like the sycamores in Twin Peaks.
Oh,
and once
okay.
you go into it, you go into this world, like all these mushroom people are there, and they have to like get scanned with like this dowsing rod to make sure you're not bringing curses over to the fairyland. I mean, it's just fucking amazing. So I'm completely obsessed with Letty Wilson. And I think if anybody wants to dive in and check her out, again, you can read that as a webcomic. You can buy her book probably through Kickstarter still. And I absolutely love her. So
yeah,
I think
she seems
everyone should check her
amazing.
out.
Yeah, I'll absolutely read some of her stuff. That sounds great.
Yeah. The end.
Cool.
That was
Well,
nice things.
That was a good, nice thing. I like the nice things segment. And the musings.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got lots more musings.
Yeah. So Matt, what's up next for our shadow show? What's next on the docket?
You know what? I don't remember, but why don't you riff here for a second? I know right what it is.
Just
on my
riff,
desktop.
Kedsy.
Yeah, man. Just
Yeah.
riff. Shadow show stuff. We got, Jacob.
Oh.
Tales of the Zombie #8.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which I was a little nervous about when we first started the season because, you know, it's a full magazine or whatever. But now that we're doing this, the short,
Yeah, we can we'll just
talk
do the
through
short.
it, show the art. It's perfect for this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, because those are full magazine length stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, but God, they're so good. I mean, they're just so brilliant. Pablo Marcos, like, goddamn. I mean, we're not going to be very critical. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, but I'm excited for an opportunity to flip through it again. Like I haven't read Tales of the Zombie for I don't know 15 years. Like,
Yeah, I think that was the last
Just
time I
excuse.
went through like my Marvel Essentials that I have, which is it's good for that collection because it's already black and white. So
I know, but that one has a notorious glue issue on the spine.
yes, it does. Mine completely came off.
Mine fell apart,
Yep, mine did too.
and when it happened, I looked it up, and there was a lot of people that were unhappy about it back in
Yeah.
like 2006 or 2004, whenever I got it.
Yep.
I think that stuff's collected in Marvel Horror Omnibus. Also,
In the
but-
omnibus, yeah.
yeah,
But no, really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That'll be great.
me too.
All right. Well, that was a good free jazz Libre, as you
Just leave.
as you as you advertised it. So yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad. And you said we're gonna do this every like 6 or 7 ones, right? I think.
It's like every fourth, I think.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everyone can look forward to that. So yeah, let us know what you think about the free jazz episodes, and because we like doing them. So I'm curious what everyone out there thinks of them. So yeah, let us know.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, till we meet again. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. To Pat.
To Pat.
That's the Shadow Show.
That is the Shadow Show. Finger guns.